In my last video about this plasma cutter, I didn't get a good cut because I didn't know what parameters to use, and afterward my air compressor broke down, so I couldn't test for a while. Now I fixed my air compressor, so I did a few tests, and you can see here I cut a lot of line and slots with different parameters like torch height, feed rate, and I think it started to get better. I got a few clean cut here with the torch height around like 1.4 or 1.6 millimeter, so it's really close to the sheet metal. On this side I have a lot less thrust, so I think that I still need to work on the parameter a little bit. But one thing that I start to notice on this piece of thin sheet metal, that it warp a lot after a few cuts, so sometimes it even like got stuck to the torch and drag the piece around. So that wasn't good. I think that it might be okay if you cut something thicker like 6 millimeter, but in the future I don't think that I will always cut the thick piece. Sometimes I want to do like metal arts or something like that, so it will be thin. So before continuing testing the parameters, I just going to try to install a THC, and as you know that I am a cheapo, so I just going to try to find a cheapest THC on eBay and get one. Here's the cheapest set of torch height controller that I found on eBay. It's called THC3T-02. It's $160 plus $35 shipping from Vietnam. So you might need to wait about 2 weeks for it to arrive. It has the controller itself, and also it includes a off voltage divider, and it comes also with a potentiometer, a DB9 cable to connect the two units. One thing that it didn't come with a manual, so I have to get the manual on their website. After reading the manual here, I found out that this unit can work in two modes. The up-down mode is more traditional, that you control the Z-axis through the control board. You only get the reading from this unit, and then you control the axis with the control board. And the step gear mode, that you control the Z-axis directly using the unit, and they say that it is faster, it's more accurate, so that's what I'm going to use. And I think that the step gear mode have less wiring and less modification in the parameter of the control board. So to choose the mode, I only need to set the switch here, but I couldn't see the switch on the outside of the unit, so I think that I will have to open it and see how the switch look like. I found the switch right here. By opening this side, just have the connector to the potentiometer. You don't need to open this side. And the two switch is already set to off, so it is in step and gear mode already. So now I'm just going to put everything back on. Now I know that this unit is working in the step gear mode. Let's get to the wiring. The wiring has two ports. The first port is to connect this unit to the control board, like Max 3 board. And the second port is to connect this board to the plasma cutter. So I'm just going to start with this one first. I think that the wiring for this unit is pretty simple. You will need 4 wires from the Max 3 controller board, like the ground, direction and post for the Z-axis, the 5 volt. Here it says 5 volt out, but I think it's 5 volt in as a reference. And then you will have the arc OK here. From this board, go back into the controller board for it to read. And then you can connect this unit to the stepper motor driver for the Z-axis. From my experience, I don't think that you need the direction plus out, the step plus out. You only need the direction minus out and the step minus out. And then this pin, you have the 5 volt in. And also you will take one wire out to connect it to enable plus, direction plus, post plus on the stepper motor driver for the Z-axis. And you also need 24 volt to power this unit. I connect this unit pretty much like I showed you before. It has its own DC step down from 36 to 24 volts. This is just to make sure that it will have enough current to power this unit. The only thing that I changed a little bit from what I told you before is just the 5 volt here from this board go to this unit, and then instead of taking the 5 volt from here to the stepper motor driver, I just take the 5 volt directly from here. I have the Z-axis post and direction go to the step and direction on the unit. And then I have the direction out and the step out go to the direction and post on the stepper motor driver. The signal arc OK here, I connect it to the input number 3 on the control board. And that's it. Next step, I would have to connect this board to the plasma cutter and connect the two units using the DB9 cable. This is my cheap plasma cutter Cut 50. It has the pilot arc here. It said that it can work at dual voltage 110 volt and 220, but I tried 110 and it didn't work very well, so I had to hook it up at 220. Now, following the guide to connect this plasma cutter to this board, I need two wires. The first one go from the plus here to the plus sign on the board, and the second one go from here minus to the minus electrode on the board, and that's it. I think that those two wires are only to measure the voltage, so you don't need them to be very big. From what I read, that I should install this board really close to this plasma cutter, so the wire come from here to here will be short, so the board can read the arc voltage faster. That make the controller like act quicker to lift the torch up and down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just I'm going to stick this board on the side here of the plasma cutter, and to do that I made these four legs here so they can be screwed on the board, and then I just going to use some double side tape here or just some hot glue to like glue it on right here. So let me just do that very quickly. This is only temporary. Later on I might need to make a box to cover it and also drill some hole to fix it on the plasma cutter. I'm not sure if this is a good way to do it, but this part is made kind of like hard rubber, so I'm just going to try to shove this end of the wire into here and just like plug it in here and turn it normally. So let me just try that. Okay, so I just push the wire in like this, and let's see if I can reconnect it. It seems to be working. The wire kind of like gets stuck and the connector is tight. So let me just try to connect this side. On this side, when I tighten the nuts here, you have some space here. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to wrap the wire on this side and put some O-ring here to push the wire always like press to this side of the connector so it always be connected. Now just connect the two units using this cable. I also hooked up the potentiometer to the controller here. Now I think I'm ready to do all the configuration in Max 3 and also on this controller. The next step is just to turn this on to make sure that there's no error here. The manual said that when this light is blinking, that means it is working correctly. Okay, so here in Max 3 I just go to config, motor tuning, and go to the Z-axis and put this to 15 and this also to 15. Then save and press OK. Now I should be able to jerk the Z-axis through the controller using Max 3. As you can see that I can move the torch up and down no problem. So far the controller works as expected. Next step is to tell Max 3 that I have the THC connected. So I just go to config, ports and pins, and go to input signal and go all the way down. And here THC on, I just go to enable it. And port will be number 3 and pin number 3 because I connect the wire to input number 3, and apply and OK. I think that is for the Max 3 software. Next step I just have to turn on the plasma cutter and configure the controller a few more steps. Now the plasma cutter is on. I would have to press the menu button here a few times until I see the P mode. Like this. And to read the arc voltage range, I think that I would have to actually turn on the arc on the torch. Now before turn on the torch, I'm just going to adjust the ampage here to 20 amp because I don't think that I'm going to go lower than that. Once I get the number, I'm just going to turn this up to maximum and then read the other number. So it was about 120. Now I put it to maximum. And the number were about 95. Now I just turn off the plasma cutter and press the menu until I see U mode, and then use this to adjust to the number that is in the middle of the two numbers that I got, 95 and 120, so about 107. And then I press menu to the A number. So here I just going to press it down a bit. I think I'm going to set it about like 50. The A number here means that when the off voltage is between 107 minus 50, it's about 57, and 107 plus 50, 157. The THC unit will be in auto mode, so it can adjust the torch highly automatically. S mode will be the sensitivity of the THC unit, so I just going to increase it a little bit. Maybe just 200 to see what happens. The maximum will be 800. D here will be the delay to send the off OK signal to the mic 3 controller. 10, that means 1 second. This is actually the V mode, so the number here means just the speed that the motor will change from 0 to 100% speed. I don't know what it does, so I'm just going to set it at the middle like 50. Yeah, this I have no idea what it is, so I'm just going to continue. Now everything should be ready. Let's see how it works. To test the THC, I'm just going to use this plate. It bends here, and I also lift this side up, so it kind of like go downwards here. And to be safe, I'm just going to cut the line from this side to this side, so even if the THC doesn't work, the torch just going to be floating in the air. It doesn't hit the plate, and if it works, you will see that the tip of the torch just going to follow the plate. So let's see how it goes. Well, as you can see that it doesn't work here. It only cut the beginning, so I will have to adjust a bit the setting. Probably I'm just going to increase the sensitivity to like 400 to see if it works better. This time the line is a bit longer, so I think I only need to increase the sensitivity a bit more. Now I increase the sensitivity to 600, and I have the amperage at 42 amp. My last test with the bent metal sheet didn't work, so I tried many times with many settings in the THC, and it still didn't work. So as you can see here, I tried so many combinations and everything, and after all this step, I decided to contact the vendor, and they were able to help me to solve the problem. It actually comes from the direction of the Z-axis. So the first time when I connect the THC, the Z-axis actually moved in the opposite direction that I set up earlier. The first solution I tried just to reverse the direction by changing the direct active low in the motor output of the mic 3. That solution only changed the direction of the Z-axis, but it didn't have the function of the THC. So I changed it back to direct active low, and then I changed 2 wires on the stepper motor driver, so that also just changed the direction of the Z-axis, but it also didn't work the function of the THC. So finally the vendor actually helped me to find another solution, is that to connect the direction minus and the step minus from the THC to the direction plus and post plus on the stepper motor driver, and then the 5 volts are the direction plus and step plus to the direction minus and post minus on the stepper motor driver, and afterward everything works. So let me just show you quickly the parameters that I have on the THC right now. The settings are pretty much the same as I said at the beginning. Here I have the EU at 101, A at 60, S at 200, and D at 10, and small v at 50, and mode still 1. And here for the P mode to read the arc voltage. What I did actually was wrong, so I contact the vendor and they actually tell me just what I should do is just put nothing under the torch and fix the ampage here on the plasma cutter. I'm going to use 50 amp, so I just need to turn the torch on and then read the biggest number and the smallest number and add them together and divide by 2, and I got the biggest number about 107 and the smallest number about like 94, so the average about 100 or 101, so I use 101, and that's it. So now let me just show you one example of the cutting with the THC. As you can see here, it cut almost okay. On the way up it followed very good, but here on the way down it's kind of slow. It didn't follow the curve down fast enough, so I think that I will increase the small V to 75. And next I'm just going to have to cut a line here to take this piece out. I took the piece out and I bent it here, so now it's go down here. So I'm just going to cut a slot from here, go down here and go back up. So let's see if it can go up and down in one cut. I hope that you can see very clearly on this piece of bent metal that the tip of the torch follows the slot very closely, like go down and up, and it cut really nicely. This piece actually doesn't have much dross here, so the cut actually quite good. It has a bit of dross on this side, but it's not a big deal. I think that now I only need to work out the good fit rate for a really clean cut. Apart from that, everything else turned out to be very good. So let me just summarize a bit about the THC system. I have two reasons to buy this THC system. The first reason just it's really cheap. The second reason just it can work in two modes. The up and down mode is like any other THC system, that it can work very well with Match 3. But I use this control board and it's not really compatible with the up and down mode. You can find out if your board is really compatible with the up and down mode by just turn on the simulation for the signal like THC on, torch up, torch down, and then you just press the corresponding key when the THC is on and the torch up on, the Z-axis should move up, and the other way, when the THC is on, torch down, the Z-axis should move down. If it doesn't move, that means just your board is not really compatible. The second mode is just a step deal mode, so it can control the Z-axis through this unit. So it's kind of like standalone THC system. So that's what I need for this type of control board. So that's the reason that I bought this, and in the end it worked really well, as you can see. So hopefully in the near future I can show you how I upgrade my CNC machine with all the metal brackets. Last thing is just some reminders about installing this system. The first thing is just after connect this system and if your Z-axis go into the opposite direction just you had before, don't try to change it in Match 3 or change the wire here. like on this side to the stepper motor. What you need to do is just take the direction minus and the step minus from here and go into the direction plus and post plus on the stepper motor driver and put a 5 volt in the other pin, like direction minus and post minus. That will reverse the z-axis direction and it also make it work correctly. And after that, when you cut, if the torch supposed to go down but it go up and the other way around, you can change the mode in here. This one I didn't know what it is before. It actually to reverse the direction of the torch moving up and down. So if you have it reverse, you just like change the mode here. And that's it. And the way you saw it works, I think just you definitely should get one of these.